Brian Moore and Jornel Lugo in the bantamweight division. Undefeated prospects, Jornel Lugo, only 26 years of age, very tall, very lengthy, coming in at 5'9" tall, having a 1-inch height advantage and a 4-inch reach advantage. So that height and reach can definitely play an advantage and play a factor for Jornel Lugo in the striking. I don't necessarily think he's going to have the advantage when it comes to the boxing, the kickboxer, things like that, but I do believe with the height, with the reach, with the speed that he has with his punches and kicks, he'll be able to keep the striking relatively even, not let Brian Moore absolutely destroy him on the feet, because I still think that Brian Moore will be having the striking advantage. I don't think it's going to be that significant of an advantage. I do think there will be a significant advantage when it comes to, of course, the wrestling and grappling. Jornel Lugo, since joining Bellator, he's looked very, very good on the ground, going out there beating undefeated Skylar Suto by unanimous decision, Cass Bell by unanimous decision, and barely submitting Keith Lee with no seconds left. You can see right there, 5 minutes of the first round, absolutely insane. He's got a lot of other submission and knockout wins, but if he's going to win here against Brian Moore, it's probably going to be a decision. Brian Moore has been submitted in the past, but he did not get finished by guys like Nikita Mikhailov and then Noah Lahat inside of Bellator, so I don't necessarily think he's going to get finished, but he has before by AJ McKee Jr., Daniel Weichel, Murat Pekov, Dave Hill. He actually didn't get finished right there, but you can see where I'm coming at. He does get finished by submission a lot by AJ McKee and Daniel Weichel, but those guys are at the, I would say, upper echelon of this featherweight division. Top 5, the champion, and then a top 5 featherweight right there. So those guys submitting Brian Moore, that's not really too much of a surprise. I don't think Jornel Lugo is going to go out there and submit Brian Moore here, because he did only get that one submission win on Keith Lee, wasn't able to finish Cass Bell, was not able to finish Skylar Suto. So overall, I do think the fight goes all the way. I think on the feet, Jornel Lugo uses the height, reach, and speed to keep the striking relatively even. Overall, get the fight to the mats eventually and control there for a decision win. I expect submission attempts. I expect a lot of ground and pound, and expect Jornel Lugo to be looking for that finish to catapult his name, and maybe even get a ranked opponent next time around. But at this point, Brian Moore is a pretty tough guy, hasn't been finished in the last 3 years. I don't think we see a finisher. Jornel Lugo by unanimous decision in the bantamweight division. Khasan, Magomedsharipov, and Jose Sanchez in the featherweight division. Jose Sanchez has 11 wins and 1 loss. That record looks very, very solid, but once you take a little bit of a deeper dive into it, he is coming off a submission loss on Felipe Maya, who is a much worse wrestler and grappler than Khasan Magomedsharipov. So that one thing right there does lead me to believe, yeah, Khasan's probably going to go out there and win this fight. He also has a lot of his wins against not the best competition. 8 wins and 10 losses, 7 wins, 15 losses, 0-1, 4-3 isn't really too bad, 1-5, 5-3, 4-3, 0-2, 0-1, 0-1, and 0-1. He really has not faced an opponent like Khasan Magomedsharipov. The one time he really got a step up in competition here against Felipe Maya, he got submitted in the very first round. This is an even bigger step up in competition. Fighting a guy like Khasan Magomedsharipov, the brother of Zabit Magomedsharipov, a top 5 featherweight fighter in the world, in my opinion. Khasan's going to go out there and destroy him in the wrestling and grappling. Yeah, he also hasn't really faced the best competition. 3-2, 8-4, 1-1, 2-1, 1-1. Not really the best competition, but he is starting his career as well. I think neither guy has really been tested in their careers too much. They haven't really fought the best competition, but Khasan Magomedsharipov, he's going to be a future champion here in Bellator, in my opinion. From Makhachkala, Dagestan, is a very good wrestler, very good grappler, solid ground and pound and submission skills. Very obvious that you guys already know who I'm going to go for. Khasan Magomedsharipov by I'm going to go submission in the first or second round. Solid fight there in the featherweight division. Ciaran Clarke and Abou Tounkara in the featherweight division. Ciaran Clarke, very solid wrestler and grappler. Abou Tounkara, I'm going to say it right now, Bellator is trying to feed this guy. You look at a guy like Abou Tounkara, I've watched a little bit of film on the guy, but the one thing you really notice is he's been knocked out in both of his losses that he's had in the last couple of years, getting knocked out due to a knee injury against David Tunath Kroll, and then he got knocked out pretty badly against Saba Balahi. The only reason Bellator likes to bring in guys coming off knockout losses like that is to build their undefeated uprising prospects. Ciaran Clarke is that undefeated guy in the Bellator featherweight division. Abou Tounkara has been finished twice, so you already know Bellator wants Ciaran Clarke to win. They think he can go out there and finish a guy that gets finished in all of his losses. So that alone right there should lead you to believe that Ciaran Clarke is going to win the fight. But even if you look at the skill by skill basis, the striking is very, very even. The height, the reach, very even. The speed, the power is all very, very even. Neither guy is really that exceptional in terms of the striking here. So I really don't know who to give the advantage on the feats because it's really, really that close. Neither guy is really that good of a striker. But where the advantage really, really does lie is going to be with the grappling and wrestling. We've seen Ciaran Clarke go out there and just destroy people on the ground. Go out there, submit George Courtney, submit Jordan Barton, and then get decision wins on Jamie Falding as well as Gene and Doyle. Gene and Doyle was a pretty solid win as he was undefeated at the time that he fought. So those are all very, very solid wins. He's fighting a guy, I would say, gets finished a lot in his fights. Ciaran Clarke gets a finish every now and then as well. So I think Bellator knows what they're doing. They're trying to feed Abou Tounkara to build that record of Ciaran Clarke, get him another finish. So of course, my prediction here, Ciaran Clarke gonna take the fight down and either TKO or submit Abou Tounkara in the first or second round. Solid fight there in the featherweight division. Leah McCourt and Sinead Kavanagh in the featherweight division. Leah McCourt, her resume speaks for itself. I mean, we could look at the height, we could look at the reach. She will be having a 2-inch height advantage and a 4-inch reach advantage. I also believe she's probably going to have that age advantage as well. But if you look at the resume from Leah, the Curse McCourt, she's beaten some really legit girls. Mana Fiorot by a split decision. If you really dig deep into watching that fight, I watched that fight many, many times. Doing tape study for Mana Fiorot because she is fighting in the UFC. I do believe Mana Fiorot won the fight very, very slightly. But even though I think Mana Fiorot won that fight, to have such a close fight with Mana Fiorot, one of the rising contenders in the UFC flyweight division, that alone gives your stock a really, really big boost. And not only that, she got first round TKO win, rear naked choke submission win, decision Judith Ruiz, submitted Janae Harding, and then got another unanimous decision. She's doing very, very good inside of Bellator with a 5-0 undefeated record. She is fighting, I would say, her biggest test in Bellator. Outside of Bellator, Mana Fiorot was her biggest test, and she did actually win that fight. But this fight here with of course Sinead Kavanagh, Sinead needs to go out there, heavy pressure, and just start to throw. She will be the bigger opponent in my opinion. I don't necessarily think that Leah McCourt built into that featherweight frame too nicely. I would say she's more of a natural bantamweight contender here. Sinead is going to be bigger. She's going to be a lot more powerful when it comes to how much power she's landing with her punches. But overall, Leah McCourt will have that height advantage. She will have the reach advantage, and I do believe will have the volume advantage on the field with jabs, 1-2s, kicks at range, and things of that nature. Now, overall, if the fight stays in the feet for 3 straight rounds, even though Leah McCourt has the volume, she has the height, she has the reach, Sinead's still going to be able to pressure, land those big shots, and win the fight. So she needs another avenue besides the striking to win this fight against Sinead Kavanagh, and of course, that is going to be the grappling and the wrestling avenue. We've seen it before, her getting submission wins on Carrie Hughes and Janae Harding. She does have, I would say, decent wrestling and grappling, even her amateur career back in 2015 and 2016. Armbar Kimura, armbar again, and a TK TKO win. So her grappling and wrestling is pretty underrated in my opinion, but I do believe she will have a significant advantage over Sinead Kavanagh in that wrestling and grappling. She'll be able to mix the striking in, make it very, very even on the feet, stay away from those big shots, and as Sinead Kavanagh's throwing those very, very big shots, trying to look for a finish on Leah McCourt, because that would be the main way she wins. That's when Leah McCourt's going to mix in that double leg takedown, or maybe get that fight to the clinch and look for a trip takedown, a single leg takedown, or something of that nature. So I do believe Leah McCourt will be able to take the fight down. I don't think she's going to TKO Sinead Kavanagh. The only girl that's really able to actually knock her out was Cris Cyborg, and Leah McCourt is no Cris Cyborg. So yeah, my prediction here in the featherweight division, Leah McCourt by unanimous decision. Gegard Mousasi and Austin Vanderford in the middleweight division. Gegard Mousasi, one of the greatest middleweights of all time, and I am not exaggerating. This man has beaten some amazing fighters. He's been fighting MMA since 2003. It is absolutely insane. The time where he first joined I would say major MMA promotion was in 2008. He already had a 20 wins, 2 losses, and 1 loss on his MMA record. Joined M1 Challenge, first on knockout, first on submission, decision win, submission win, knockout win, submission, knockout. So many finishes in a row, and then after that, he starts to find a little bit better competition. Fedor Emelianenko, Gary Goodridge, Muhammad Lawal, Keith Jardine, Ovi St. Preux, Alir Latifi, all these guys. Then he joins the UFC in 2013, beats Alir Latifi, who, if you don't know, is a heavyweight fighter. He, right now, in the heavyweight division, I would say is about top 25 in the UFC heavyweight division. And Gegard Mousasi, a middleweight fighter, went up as a minus 1,000 favorite in the main events, went out there and decisioned him. I mean, that is absolutely insane. Just that alone, that's very, very impressive. But not only that, he did go out there and beat guys like Mark Munoz, Dan Henderson by knockout, Tyler Latest, Thiago Santos by knockout, Vitor Belfort by knockout, Uriah Hall by knockout, Chris Weidman by knockout, and all of that should have been able for him to actually get a title shot in the UFC. He beat Chris Weidman, who at the time was 13-2, and it just lost to Yoel Romero and Luke Rocco. So at that point, Gegard Mousasi deserved a UFC title shot, and I'm gonna be honest, he would have beaten Luke Rocco. Gegard Mousasi was in the fighting spirit and the shape to actually go out there and be the UFC champion, but instead he goes on to Bellator and beats Alexander Shlemenko, Rafael Carvalho, Rory McDonald, Lyoto Machida, Douglas Lima, and John Salter, only losing to one of the greatest grapplers of all time in Rafael Lovato Jr. And in this video, we haven't really talked much about Austin Vanderford, but the reason is the only way that Gegard Mousasi is going to lose this fight is if Austin Vanderford can keep the pace with the wrestling and grappling for as long as Rafael Lovato Jr. was able to. Rafael's grappling and wrestling, I would say the grappling is a little bit better. Vanderford's wrestling is still a little bit better. The cardio goes Rafael, but him losing to Rafael Lovato Jr. is not the same as a fight with Austin Vanderford. Yeah, Austin is a very good wrestler, but he has not been in 5-round main event fights. I think Austin Vanderford's gas tank is really going to suffer in those later rounds. We've seen Gegard Mousasi do it to John Salter, where he kind of allowed John Salter to land a few takedowns, kind of use his gas tank a little bit in the first round and a little bit in the second round, and then come back where that wrestler and grappler is a little bit gassed and TKO them in the later rounds. That's exactly what I see happening here. The only reason he wasn't able to do that on Rafael Lovato Jr. is because Rafael is one of the greatest grapplers of all time. He has very, very solid cardio as well, grappling and wrestling all day, every day. So I don't think Austin Vanderford is going to be able to withstand 5 full rounds of action with Gegard Mousasi with the wrestling and grappling. It's possible, but Gegard's takedown defense is really good. His get-up game is really good. And after the fight hits the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round, Gegard is going to absolutely destroy him. I don't think the fight goes all the way. I do believe Gegard Mousasi is going to get the TKO win. I'm going to go 3rd round here. I think Austin will do enough to survive the first and second round, maybe even win the first and second round. But after that, his gas tank's really going to suffer, and Gegard's going to come back like usual, and he's going to TKO the gassed Austin Vanderford. So in the middleweight division for the Bellator middleweight strap, I got Gegard Mousasi defending for 4 times in a row and beating Austin Vanderford by knockout in the third round right here. And one guy in the comment section is saying, I don't think Austin is going to get gassed. He's never been in a 5-round main event. I'm not saying based on prior knowledge, like I've seen Austin Vanderford get gassed in any of his other fights. All I'm saying, he has never been in 5-round fights. He's never been in a fight with a guy like Gegard Mousasi, who will have the best takedown defense that Austin Vanderford has ever seen. Fabian Edwards, Vinci De Jesus, Graca Mazzina, all of these guys have decent takedown defense. This guy right here, Gegard Mousasi, has way better takedown defense, and the better your takedown defense is, the more gas the person going for the takedown is going to get. Plus the fact that it is 5 rounds, so I think Gegard's going to defend a lot of these takedowns, wear on that gas tank, and he's going to TKO him in the third round right there. Really good fight in the middleweight division. Yeah, that was my main card prediction. I got Gegard Mousasi winning it by knockouts. I have Leah McCourt winning the fight by a decision. Ciaran Clarke by TKO or a submission. Khasan Magomedsharipov by submission. And Jornel Lugo by a decision. That is the main card prediction. I do believe we have betting odds for some of the fights so far. Khasan Magomedsharipov, crazy, minus 800 favorite. Absolutely insane. I mean, he deserves it. He's an absolute beast. Gegard is at minus 185. I do believe he definitely wins that fight. Updated, it says he's at minus 215 at this point. Very, very interesting. If I can find it. He's at minus 220 now. He's just getting a bigger and bigger favorite as the days do go on. Jornel Lugo, Brian Moore. What are the odds on that one? We have Jornel Lugo almost a 3-1 favorite. Very, very interesting. Ciaran Clarke, Abou, Tounkara. That one. Ciaran Clarke a 4-1 favorite. Very, very big favorite there. And then Leah, McCourt, and Sinead, Kavanagh. Very slight favorite there. Minus 125. And I do have Leah McCourt winning there. I expect the odds to stay pretty 50-50 on that one. But yeah, that is my Bellator 275 full card prediction. If you guys want to see some of the bets we will be making, because some of the odds just got announced literally about 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, not that long ago, these odds just got announced. So we will be putting out a full card betting breakdown, put out all of the bets that I will be making and everything like that. If you want to become a member, look down in the comment section below and read how to become a channel member for only 10 cents a day. That is absolutely it. All of my MMA bets for UFC, Bellator, LFA, PFL, whatever MMA promotion, you'll get to see all of those MMA bets. So become a member, hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Let's go.